The universe only understands abundance. But how do you tap into this abundance? It comes down to breaking a generational curse that's been put on many of us, keeping people trapped in a state of fear and scarcity that's stopping this abundance from flowing into their life. In this video, I'm going to give you 2 laws of the universe that if you followed, combined at the end of the video with a circle principle, a way that I've found that's helped me break out of this scarcity mindset, you'll find the channels for abundance to open up for you. Finding ways, money will find you instead of you finding money in your life. So, with that being said, let's get right into it. Many of you don't know I've been an options trader and investor for probably about 7 years now, and it's taught me something about money, and specifically in my situation, growing up through the 2008 financial crisis, studying past events like the Great Depression, and the type of mindset it's put people into collectively. It's put people into a state of fear, into a state of hoarding, a hoarding mentality, hoarding their money, hoarding onto things. That's something that many people have experienced, right? Shout out to you if you're a hoarder. I'm just kidding. But seriously, this has put us in a state of wanting to hang on to money for a rainy day. Isn't that the most common investment advice that people get? But what happens when the value of that money begins going down? What happens when money starts being created out of thin air by governments, making it worth less and less by the day? It puts us in that fear mentality, in that state of scarcity. And when we're in this state of scarcity, we're in something Dr. David Hawkins, who wrote this book, Power versus Force, he called it a survival paradigm. This low level state of emotions, which creates a low level of vibration, which cuts us off from this universal life force energy, something I talk about frequently on this channel. That everything around you is permeated with this universal life force, this invisible substance, yet is responsible for literally everything in and around us. And so how do we actually tap into this universal life force and actually open up these channels of this money to flow into our lives, right? It comes down to 2 universal laws. The first one being the law of circulation. In order for money to be useful, it must actually be circulated, because money at its core essence actually represents energy. It represents the energy of giving and receiving to each other. And the universe doesn't denominate this in yens or dollars or bitcoins. It doesn't care. But what does matter is the energy you have behind it. And so if you associate the feelings of fear and scarcity with money, then that is what's going to be reflected back to you by the universe. You're going to see more fear show up in your life. You're going to see more scarcity being implemented in your life through money. And so in breaking that, understand the law of circulation, that saving your money is probably, and don't take this directly as financial advice, but saving your money is probably the worst thing you can do in this type of environment where money is actually being devalued, where actually fear is being pushed onto people and in order for them to spend their money. Now there's a way of doing this that's not going to create more scarcity or more fear in your life. And that brings me to the second law. The second law being the law of supply and demand. This is something Florence Scovel Shinn writes about in her book, The Game of Life and How to Win It. Basically stating that life is a game, and following these laws are almost like a cheat code to creating abundance in your life. And so what she basically says in this book is, in order for you to actually receive money, you must give something first. She gives the example of like a salesman. And when you're approached by a salesman that just wants something from you, how do you feel? You immediately get pushed back because that energy of wanting is coming at you. But how do you feel when somebody actually gives you an offer? Let's say you're walking through the mall and someone's offering free samples, or at Costco even, someone's offering free samples, and you take the sample. And now you actually feel like maybe, especially if it's good, right? Shout out to all the Costco shoppers that'll go out like me and have little samples of everything, even though I don't need it. But how often, I mean, actually, sometimes every now and then I'll get a sample and I'll be like, wow, that's good. And we'll end up buying the product. This is following the law of supply and demand. stating that whatever it is, especially if you're a giving person, like I'm a very giving person, but something I had to work on is receiving. When someone was offering help or a little free sample or whatever, I would have to be open to receiving it. And it's just a mindset thing to be actually open to the universe to bring this money into your life. Because money at the end of the day, like we said, is just a form of energy. Now, how do we combine these two principles of money together to actually tap into this universal life force and open these channels of abundance to us? It comes down to something I've created myself called the circle principle. And the circle principle combines these two laws through a simple exercise. If you were to do month by month over the next year, you're going to find yourself finding more abundance, money finding you in ways that you never even realized. So the circle principle goes like this. Every month, set aside a small amount of money. It can be relatively small compared to what you make. And if you're just making your ends meet, even grab like a roll of pennies. Like it could be the smallest amount. And set that aside as your giveaway budget. This amount of money has to be given away by the end of the month. It could be tips. It could be people you see going down the street that seem like they need money, giving it to them. It could be donating it to charity. It could be buying things and giving them away. Now there's two rules you must follow when you're using the circle principle or it will not work. The first one is to give lovingly and unconditionally. This means to give without really, and it kind of contradicts a little bit what I said, but there's a nuance here. To give without calculating how this money is going to come back to you. To give lovingly and for the sake of good, for the sake of bettering one's life, another one's life. And that brings me to my second point, is to let go and let God. God or the universe works in incredibly mysterious ways. And this money is going to come back to you in ways that you don't even expect. It could be a friend returning something back to you that you never thought you'd even get back. It could be someone leaving or giving away a free tool or something that you really need to use in that moment. It could work in many different ways, and I've found so many magical ways that money has found its way back to me in my life just through following these two rules while using the circle principle. Let me know down below if you've had any experience using the laws here. Are you following the laws of the universe? Have you broken the generational curse designed to keep you in a state of fear and hoarding and hanging on to your money? Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I know many of you have, but some of you have not. But you're welcome to join me. Until next time, peace.